So welcome, officially, everyone, to the evening session of today. We day 19 of the Art of Letting Go course. So tonight we're going to be talking about reading, discussing, meditating, summarizing section 2 of chapter 3, which is entitled Miracles as True Perception. So not further ado, let's dive into it, shall we? Share my screen. Okay, so there we have paragraph 1. So who would like to read paragraph 1?
Can go if you like.
Okay, Susan, do you want to go?
Okay. I have stated. Are you reading both, or or just one?
Yeah. So read the original and then go down to the alternative, and we'll do any translation and unpack it as we go.
Okie doke. I have stated that the basic concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree. I've stated that the basic concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree.
Okay. So there's no matters of degree, there's no levels. It's full on or nothing. That's what he's saying, really. It's not a matter of degree. And then he goes on to clarify it. So carry on.
Certain fundamental concepts cannot be understood in terms of opposites. Certain fundamental concepts cannot be understood in terms of opposites.
Yeah. So it's impossible to conceive of.
It is impossible to conceive of light and darkness, or everything and nothing, as joint possibilities.
Okay. And then it's impossible to conceive of light. Do you remember what light is?
No.
Anyone help her?
The perfect love.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's but we actually translate it as awareness. So it's
I should have just gone with what I thought was coming up, but I didn't say it because I thought might get it wrong. I might get it wrong.
Which was awareness.
Yeah, pure formless awareness.
Pure formless awareness and limited awareness. Everything and nothing is joint possibilities. Right. Saying it's either or. You can't have limited awareness and pure formless awareness together. Everything and nothing is joint possibilities. They are all true. Okay, carry on, Susie.
They are all true or false.
Or all false.
They are all true or all false.
So it's a binary. He's not saying it's matters of degree. It's this is binary. It's okay. It's this or it's that. Ultimately, and we talked about the having empathy for people and understanding they're on some spectrum between separation and at-one-ment. But that just indicates the extent to which their mind has accepted the truth or not. See, but actually between those polarities, it's actually one or the other. In truth, there's no matter of degree. It's truth or illusion. What's true and what's false, and they're opposite and cannot be reconciled. Okay.
It is essential that you realize your thinking will be erratic until a firm commitment to one or the other is made.
Yeah, be erratic. So have you noticed, we call it vacillations, you know, you're bouncing around. So sometimes you feel quite peaceful and calm, and then off your mind goes on a trip, and then suddenly you get, you know, you get upset or anxious or whatever it is, and your mind is quite erratic. Does anyone notice that in this?
Oh yeah,
population?
loads. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So your thinking will be erratic until a firm commitment to one or the other is made.
Yeah.
So it's telling us this will be the condition, this erratic thinking, until this firm commitment. And that firm commitment happens through the practice of forgiveness, letting go. To make that firm commitment, every time we forgive or we let go, we're strengthening our commitment to the truth and denying the illusion.
Or drastic situation will push you towards making that choice.
Yeah. The crisis can be very helpful because it does push you to say, okay, well, I have to choose here.
Yep.
So, and recognizing that it's one or the other. You can't choose both. You must collapse one to accept the other. If you choose darkness, as he says, firm commitment to unlimited awareness or nothingness. Do you want to read that, Susie, in the original? Firm commitment to darkness or nothingness.
A firm commitment to darkness or nothingness, however, is impossible. A firm commitment to limited awareness or nothingness, however, is impossible.
Okay, so you can't make a firm commitment to what has no true existence, even if you think you can. So let's take on the the extreme of the spectrum, a Hitler like gave his mind over to the ego, to the illusion, and he was probably about as committed as anyone has been to following that, but in the end it betrayed him. His commitment wavered because it didn't work, and he ended up having to commit suicide because the entire world was after him. And maybe at some point had second thoughts. He must have, and gone, was this really the wisest thing to do? Did I really go down the right path? Look at what's now happening. So you can't really commit to darkness or nothingness. That's impossible because, as he says, no one has ever lived who's not experienced some light and something. So we'll call it some true awareness and something. I'm going to make that two words or one, something.
I'd make it two. Something. Rather than.
Not really a thing, though. It's not experience, some true awareness and some, I don't understand what he's trying to say. There's a better word for it. Something. He's kind of referring to sort of a true existence, isn't he? Some true awareness and some
dog.
No, he's talking about the light here.
Well,
something, maybe something real. How about that? Something.
Oh yeah.
Real. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. Some true awareness and something.
Yeah.
Something real. That's what he's referring to. Even a Hitler, he would have had a glimpse of what is true in his life. In fact, apparently he was into the occult. So it was a spiritual path he was on, but he just took it in a dark direction. but there would have been some awareness, but then he just chose to close it right down and completely go into the ego, let the ego run his mind.
But here the real wouldn't express the dream world, the dream world. To something.
I'm true awareness and something real. Well, real relates to true reality, doesn't it?
Okay.
There's something real. The real world is seeing the world
it's the dream.
from that perspective. Yeah, it's still, but you recognize that it's a dream. You're seeing it from the perspective of oneness.
Okay.
So that's in the real. It's the oneness is the real that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Through whatever the experience might be. You're out I've just been on a dog walk. You're out on a walk and you're just really in the flow, and everything's calm and peaceful, and you're accessing something real then in that moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
And no one has had a life where they didn't at some point do that. That's what he's saying. Everyone's experienced something real.
Yeah.
If they seem to be fast asleep, they will have had some of these, so-called mindful or spiritual experiences. So there's a way into their minds, maybe through those. So the last one, Susie, I'm going to read that. Therefore,
no one is able to deny truth totally, even if he thinks he can. So like you say, some people do go down this route, but then deny it anyway. Do they?
They go down the route of
the truth.
Yeah. So, if you're going down the route of the truth, then you must deny the illusion. That's what he's saying. But if you even if you think you can deny the truth totally, you can't really, even if he thinks he can, because truth is true whether you believe it or not. So it has a funny way of coming in, doesn't it? Truth will come in, even if someone's in total denial. The truth will create. I mean, take Hitler's a good example because it's an extreme one. He thought he could deny the truth totally. He thought he could go and just, it's all ego, and it's me, it's the power, and go out and have his way, and he could do whatever he wanted in the world, and there wouldn't be consequences. But you can't do that and behave that way, not have karmic consequences that come in to correct you, which we saw at one point. He was the most powerful man in the world, one of the most powerful men in the world, and he ended up totally disempowered. His whole country's been conquered, and the entire world's after him, and he's got no option but to commit suicide. There was a correction that was necessary in that situation. And so he couldn't deny truth totally, even if he thought he could. He was totally out of line with truth. So there was a correction. And that, whole ego had to be humbled. Which we see in the world. Any egoic regime, these regimes don't last. They will always fall. And the history has shown that they don't last. And they seem to be lasting less long. And because there's going to be the truth will come in ultimately and correct them, and then that system will be undone. We think of Nazism, Soviet communism. It's another insane ego system. Mao Zedong, the Chinese version of communism, just mass insanity, but it
or
couldn't
Russia
last.
right now. I mean, the
Russia
president
right
of
now.
Russia.
There's a correction. There will be a correction.
Yeah.
Because no one can deny truth totally, even if he thinks he can.
Yeah.
So a Christian might think he can deny the truth totally and do his own thing, and he's God, but no one can. There will be a correction, and that will give him the potential to learn the lesson. Whether he'll learn it or not is his choice, possibly not.
Yeah.
But but the correction will come. And you know, we've seen that in history, in our personal relationships. You know, if you're way out of alignment with truth, you can't carry on that way. There's going to be a correction, and the temporary pain and suffering that you seem to experience in that process of correction is necessary to correct you. Otherwise, you just keep on denying the truth, and there'll be no correction. So remember that, you know, any pain and suffering that you experience is just the spirit correcting you. It's giving you the opportunity to correct and say, okay, I can change my mind. It's an opportunity for course correction. Think of it that way. Something's not working, there's, you know, resistance, there's mental and emotional pain. It's an opportunity to correct the course and change tack slightly to make the correction, because there will be a denial of truth there on some level that's causing the problem. Okay. All right, so happy with that. Let's have a look at the how do we translate, how do we summarize that? Stated the basic concept referred to in this course, not matters of degree. Okay, so we can just say certain fundamental concepts cannot be understood in terms of opposites. So let's copy all of this and let's try and chop it down. The basic concepts referred to this course are not matters of degree. And certain fundamental concept cannot be understood in terms of opposites. It's impossible for me conceive of pure formless awareness, limited awareness as joint possibilities that are all true or all false. Okay. So I think we need to keep all that in, and then maybe we just say something about it as essential that I realize my thinking will be erratic until I make a firm commitment to one or the other. You know, it's much more active. I must do this. Remember, we just say, fortunately, firm commitment to limited awareness or nothingness. Awareness or nothingness is impossible. And maybe skip the rest of it. Okay, do you want to read that summary, Susie? Does that work? Personalized executive summary of this.
The basic concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree, and certain fundamental concepts cannot be understood in terms of opposites. It is impossible for me to conceive of pure formless awareness and limited awareness as joint possibilities. They are all true or all false. It is essential that I realize my thinking will be erratic until I make a firm commitment to one or the other. Fortunately, a firm commitment to limited awareness or nothingness is impossible.
Okay, so happy with that?
Yeah.
What's he saying then in essence? Just can you summarize that in a sentence or two?
You left the number three in there, I think, Jono. I think I saw number 3 in there.
Okay.
The key, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, the idea is, oh gosh, the key concept referred to in the course are not matters of degree and certain fundamental concepts in terms of opposites. You only have one choice then. There's no opposites, and that we realize that you have to be committed to whatever choice you make.
Yeah, it's not a matter of degree. It's all true or all false. You can't have a little bit of untruth.
Yeah.
Oh, I can accept a little bit of untruth, and that's okay, because it completely denies the truth then.
And that's why you can understand why you think you will be erratic.
So we vacillate between these polarities of truth and illusion, truth and falsehood. But in the end, we must choose. Key concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree, right? Light and darkness are not matters of degree. Like it's all light or it's all dark. And you cannot really understand it in terms of opposite, in terms of its opposites. You can't understand. Some people say, you need the darkness in order to understand the light. Have you heard that argument? Oh, well, it's all perfect because we wouldn't know we light unless we had the darkness. But no, it's not non-dual. That's dualistic then. Then you're allowing darkness. You're giving darkness some reality, aren't you? Saying, oh, well, in order to know the light, I must know the dark. So then, well, my mind will be split forever. But that doesn't make any sense because darkness is opposite to light. So how would you come to know the light by knowing its opposite?
Yeah, makes sense.
Doesn't really make sense, that argument. Darkness is really just the lack of light. That's all it is. It has no positive quality of its own. So your limited awareness is a lack of love, stated another way. It has no positive existence of its own, which is why it's not real. It's defined purely by the lack of what is true. So therefore, you can know only light. You can know only pure formless awareness of perfect love, because that's all that really exists. And the limited awareness, the lack of that awareness, is nothing. Once you fully know pure formless awareness, the light, then limited awareness disappears. It was only ever the lack of true awareness that gave it some kind of illusion of reality. So anything purely defined by the lack of its opposite cannot be real. Do you see that? Whereas the light is not defined by the lack of darkness. Do you see that? It's not in the same order of reality. Don't go, oh, well, it's light because there's no darkness. You say it's dark because there's no light. You see the difference? Because the light is the positive quality that exists, and the darkness is the lack of what's positive and exists. So saying we must choose between these seeming opposites. I must make a firm commitment to one or the other. And qualifies it by saying, well, fortunately, you can't actually make a firm commitment to limited awareness or nothingness. It's impossible. Maybe we could say, because everyone has experienced some true awareness at some point, no matter how much they choose to deny. Deny it. Okay. Okay, so happy with that?
Mhm.
Affirm, he's asking us for a firm commitment. So I must make a firm commitment to one or the other. And when I forgive or I let go, I'm making a firm commitment to truth and letting go of illusion. That's how I make the commitment in practice. Okay, so paragraph 2, who would like to read that?
I'll read it. Innocence is not partial attribute. Alternatively, is not real until it is total. The partly innocent are apt to be quite foolish at times.
Okay.
Okay? It is not until
Quite
they're
foolish.
innocent.
So what is he saying there? Quite foolish. If you're partly innocent, your mind's partially corrective. You noticed you can do some pretty stupid things sometimes.
Mm.
Because you're vacillating. You're not rooted in that. So you don't have full access to the wisdom. And that causes you to make mistakes and do things because of the vacillations, do things that contradict each other.
It reminds me of when you're a teenager. 1 minute you're in that grown-up attitude, and sometimes you're in that child attitude, and then you make these silly mistakes in the middle, don't you? It's the same sort of vacillation, isn't it?
Yeah, just quite foolish and making mistakes, and because you're not grounded, rooted in the one or the other, you're still vacillating.
Mm.
Okay, it's not until their innocence.
It's not until their innocence becomes a viewpoint with universal application that it becomes wisdom.
Okay.
Innocent or true perception means that you never misperceive and always see truly. Okay.
Shall we say perceive truly there, or just translate it?
Or simply it means that you never see what does not exist and always see what does. Or simply it means that you never perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does.
Yeah. Well, so how, in practice that plays out as well. Let's say there's some difficult time experiencing, someone's behaving difficult, unconsciously. I don't focus my perception on that. I don't perceive what does not exist. So I'm not focusing on this, making it real in my mind, all kinds of emotions about it. I choose to overlook it. I choose not to focus my perception there, because that's an illusion. I get that. And so I perceive what does exist, which is still happiness, love, peace, joy. Okay.
Yeah, you always perceive the truth. Yeah.
Oh. So and forgiveness is that choice.
Mm.
Forgiveness is the correction when you are perceiving what does not exist and it seems to be real to you. Forgiveness or letting go is the correction of that, and saying, well, let me just perceive what does exist. And let me correct my mind. Change my perception. So the correction is needed when you don't have innocent or true perception. Before we have full innocent or true perception, we'll vacillate, and we can be quite foolish if we do that. Okay, so happy with that. Let's summarize, shall we? So how would you summarize that?
I always focus on the truth. But you want it a bit longer than that, do you?
Maybe, yeah. What's most helpful for people? That's the question. Not until the innocence becomes a viewpoint. So like that, and then we'll just change that, make it shorter. So my innocence becomes my one universal viewpoint. And it becomes wisdom. Instant or true perception means that I never misperceive and always perceive truly. And or simply stated, always perceive truly, or more simply stated, I do not perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does. Okay, do you want to read that from the top?
I think you've done that last sentence right. I do not. You put perceive. You need to put another perceive. I do not perceive what does not exist in the bottom sentence. You've missed out the word perceive.
I do not. Do not perceive what does not exist.
It is not until my innocence becomes my one universal viewpoint that it becomes wisdom. Innocent or true perception means that I never perceive and always perceive truly. I never misperceive and always perceive truly, or more simply stated, I do not perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does. Yeah. It's left a number 5 in there, if that matters.
No, take that out. So maybe I'm just thinking when I'm an innocent or true perception, I never misperceive and always perceive truly. Maybe we'll stop there. More simply stated, I do not perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does. Good. Happy with that?
Thank you.
When I am innocent, I don't understand that one. When I am innocent.
Yeah, when I'm in innocent or true perception. So I'm
when I am in
perception.
innocence, wouldn't it be innocence? When I am in innocence.
No, innocent or true, it's an adjective that goes with the perception. Innocent perception.
So, you put a comma after innocent and a comma after true if you want to make it clear.
But innocent after true.
You could put a comma after innocent and one after true, so that you link the innocent to the perception, if it makes it clear.
Okay. Like that, innocent or true perception.
Oh yeah. Okay, now that makes more sense.
It's an adjective for the noun.
Okay.
I mean, innocent or true perception.
Okay. No, I get it.
The same thing. And innocence comes from pure formless awareness. So no ego judgment, no condemnation, condemnatory judgment. Just coming from pure formless awareness. And then I don't misperceive, always perceive truly. I do not perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does. So, that the sensory data comes in. Remember, our perception is how we choose to interpret it. So you see certain things, you hear certain things, feel, touch, taste, smell, but how you interpret it is your perception. So I don't perceive what does not exist. If it's false, it's part of an illusory thought system of separation. And you're looking on the effects of that. You just don't need to. You can overlook it and say, no, remember, this isn't true. It doesn't exist. It's unreal. It's not true. So why am I focusing my attention and my perception on what does not exist? See the logic. Then you redirect. Always perceive what does. Okay, well, what still exists in the situation is pure formless awareness, and I can feel that, and go within. I can feel and experience this, and then I can allow that true perception to now come in, and that changes my mind about the situation, changes my actions, my words, everything. Okay, so happy with
Yep.
that summary. Moving on to number 3, when you lack confidence. Who would like to read that? Jackie, maybe?
When you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. You lack confidence in what someone will do, you're attesting to your belief that he's not in his right mind.
Testing. Do we want to keep it testing, or you're
That's good.
affirming, maybe? How about affirming your belief?
No, I don't think we should change words unless there's a reason to.
Okay. You're attesting to your belief. Right.
But this is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference. It is hardly a correction-minded frame of reference.
Yeah, that's nice. Miracle-based too. Correction-minded.
It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle. It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the correction. The miracle perceives everything as it is. The correction perceives everything as it is.
So the correction, I think maybe that needs a bit of correction. The correction enables you. How about enables you to perceive everything as it is in truth.
Yeah.
As it really is. How about that? I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I quite like in truth, actually.
In truth.
The capital T, because it really emphasizes.
So in truth, if everything is held in truth, this pure formless awareness of perfect love is the essence of everything. If I perceive everything as it is in truth, I perceive its essence. I perceive that true awareness that is there in everything and everyone. And then I'm perceiving it from my true awareness. So that gets strengthened in me the more I do it. As it is in truth, it is that awareness.
Yeah.
There is actually nothing else but this one true awareness, and that's what I'm perceiving. So whether it's an inanimate object or a person or an animal, whatever I perceive in this world, if I perceive it in truth, I perceive that there is a singular awareness that underlies this thing, this form, which is permanent, which is eternal, which is a reality, and that is in me as well. So then I'm perceiving it in the truth of its being, rather than in the illusion of its form. So the correction would enable me to make that shift. Instead of concentrating on the form, I see it as it is in truth. I concentrate on the essence. And essence you can't see with your physical eyes, but you can feel it. You can think it, you can feel it. So we're talking about a feeling-based way of perception. If you can feel the love, you can feel that awareness, feel that connection, then you are denying the truth. You're denying the illusion, and you're accepting this truth, and you're perceiving everything as it is in truth.
So really, if you can get to that, as and when you get to that frame of mind, correct thinking, taking any form of action in form against anything that you originally perceived to have been wrong. Say, I'm thinking about my situation, the judge, my ex, which I could say, I can't just allow this to happen because, people who know us said it's, it's a dreadful injustice and it's affecting other people as well. But I also, if I accept all this, I have to say, well, it's a miscreation of my mind, wherever that came from. So I have to now see it, take the view that there is, in the truth, that there is this pure essence within these characters who seem so lost in the illusion, because they are essentially my miscreations. And so it's difficult to say, how do you ever take action?
Well, it would be guided action. So if you're truly in the truth and you rest in that, then your perception will be different, and you won't be taking action from a fearful place, from an angry place of trying to get revenge. I want to correct injustices. That's all ego. So whatever the action comes, there'll be a much higher quality action. Maybe you do nothing. Maybe it's just like, let it go. The best way of dealing with it is just let it go. Don't misperceive. Don't believe in what's not true. And if you go and fight something that's not true, you go to war against something that's not true, you make it true, don't you? Why would you be fighting?
And you're constantly in the past. I mean, the thing with litigation and courts is it's all past stuff. You're proving stuff, proving, inverted commas, stuff from the past. So in some ways, I was thinking, if I were ever to write a book about this scenario, it would be good to have a win, I guess, on the level of form, but actually better solution is to accept that it never happened and show the forgiveness. Because people have said to me about what's it called, the Michael Singer book, The Surrender Experiment, where he had that court case. Was that the right thing even to do, to defend it and spend? I mean, yes, he wrote 2 books during that time, but if he were fully surrendered, would he just have let it go and trusted? I don't think I would have done, because the stakes were too high. But
I think he did what he had to do. He went through the process. Okay, this court. So he got lawyers, and he was doing that. But at the same time, he was correcting his mind. He was doing deep forgiveness and undoing. And eventually, that's what resolved it. It couldn't sustain once he'd really let it go in his mind. So he did what he needed to do. The court action on the level of form was a necessary part of the unfolding of it. But he was correcting his perception of it. That was where the miracle happened, which then eventually collapsed the whole thing. Court action was no longer necessary. So he would have been guided. He did what he needed to do on the level of form, but all the while he was correcting. He was doing this deep forgiveness and letting it go some more, so that miracle could happen where it just disappeared. The whole thing just ceased to be. I think they dropped the charges eventually, didn't they? So yeah, we get into that in that truly surrendered state. Okay, when there's no charge there, Jackie, you think of these characters and you're like, you know what, there isn't really any charge. There's no anger, resentment, frustration. There's no desire for revenge, to go to war against us, to prove a point. All of that is ego, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're just clear, and you look at this as though you're just the objective observer. You're clear, there's peace, there's calm. From that state of mind, whatever comes in that state of mind will be the right action.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it's coming from your true awareness. But you have to clear your mind first of all of the negativity.
Yeah. There's still stuff
And
there.
that's a process. It took Michael Singer a year to get that clear, to collapse it. I promise you, if you can get to that point, when you get to that point, so if you will, when you get to that point, then it will resolve. Because you've done the work on the metaphysical level. However that is, you don't know how that's going to look. Maybe they drop the charges. Maybe you go to court and you win. I don't know. That's up to the spirit. So you've got to hand over the outcome. So look, it's not up to me. The outcome's really not in my hands. But what I can do, my true prayer should be, help me to forgive this. Let this go truly, so that I can get into that absolutely clear state of mind where there's no anger, no resentment, no negative. I'm just in awareness, even while I perceive the characters. I can look on all of that, but no emotional charge. And then the answer will come. What you're supposed to do will come out of that state of awareness.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
So your only job is to get into that state of awareness.
Yeah.
Do the corrections, keep correcting until you're like, okay, so no emotional charge. I can look at all of this and I'm not triggered. I'm not getting fearful, anxious. Nothing's moving me out of that nice, calm, stable, peaceful state.
Yeah.
Even if I get an email from my ex, or I'm engaging in this. And the opportunity that's given to you when you're doing this engagement, you're getting the emails and stuff, you're being tested on that. So okay, we'll check it out. Are you able to stay in that calm, peaceful state no matter what? And if you're not yet, then you haven't truly let it go. So then the situation is useful to carry on for mind training purposes, to keep keep doing the correction.
Yeah.
And then the miracle on the level of form will come from that surrendered state, and what you're meant to do will come when you're in that state, and no one can say until you're in that state. When the time is right, you'll get the guidance.
Yeah.
And you got to it's a lot of faith. You just got to trust. Okay, I'm trusting this divine intelligence that if I truly let go, the answer will come, because this power that I'm surrendering to knows the answer. It knows how to work out everything here and resolve it for the highest good. So I'm trusting. And so, forgiveness in many ways is an act of supreme faith and trust. Okay, I'm letting it go. I'm letting go of trying to control this myself, which is what your ego says you should do, to keep a handle on it and keep it under control and manage it. I'm letting that all go. And I'm trusting this divine power, which I don't really understand fully, that somehow this is going to work.
Mm.
And when you do that, then it comes to show you that it does work, because it has to. It will respond to your intention, your faith.
Yeah. Yes.
Because then that's the miracle that shows you, yes, your trust and your faith in this is warranted, Jackie. Do this more often, because you will never be let down. It will always come to help you in strange and miraculous ways, which you can't even conceive of right now. So you don't go there. Don't try and consciously control it and manifest. Just trust. If I let go and I do my part, then the spirit will do its part, and it's going to unfold in the highest way possible for everyone concerned.
Amen. I needed to hear this. Thank you so much.
That was brilliant, Johnny. Thank you.
Yeah, that was, whoa, exactly what I needed to hear.
And that's
Right.
exactly the sort of clip that Sally's been talking about that needs to be, edited and made independent.
Sorry, what
Yeah.
did you say, Jackie? Just broke up.
Well, that's exactly the sort of, we keep talking about doing these short clips. That's exactly the sort of explanation that's really helpful for people, how to let go of these seemingly huge situations, where other powers seem to have control of what's going on. And you think, can I really just trust?
Yeah, sure.
And it's a
That's-
leap of faith, but
Yeah.
you're saying I'm trusting in a power beyond the illusory powers of the ego and what I know.
Mm.
I have to go and I reach into the intangible domain and I find it there. And obviously, the more you do it, more it's like, well, that's going to respond because it wants you to reach to it. And so the test, the trial on the hero's journey is there to make you reach down and find it.
Yeah.
That's why it's there. Because otherwise, if things are going okay, everything's kind of sort of okay, you're in a comfort zone, there's no real challenge, why would you have to do that? You don't have to have that kind of faith. You don't have to really reach down, dig deep, and find it there. So the challenges are exactly what you need to find that power. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Do you get it? The adversity is exactly what you need to cause you to go and really reach into the depths of your mind and say, okay, God, help me here. I'm willing to give it over, to really hand it over, really apply these principles, really surrender. Sally asked a question last week. What does surrender mean? It means I'm willing to just trust it all, give it over. You deal with it. The outcome, how this is going to work, I hand it over. And it's not up to me. My job is to trust.
I have 2 weeks to get in that state, or a little bit over 2 weeks to get in that state. And completely
Okay.
surrender to God, surrender to the Holy
Say,
Spirit.
okay, so you go in and like I had a court experience, as I mentioned, and I'd surrendered. It was like, okay, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but it's going to be okay because I'm trusting that this will be, guided, directed. And I didn't go and double question. I didn't go, oh, well, hang on, I need to try and figure out what's going to happen. How's this going to work? It was like, okay, I hand it over. I go there in faith and trust. I know what I've got to do, and I'm going to do it. You do it through me, for me. And, it was an instant miracle. It was incredible. The judge just walked out. It was extraordinary. I wouldn't have never expected that.
I had a friend told me a great story, somebody I met on the Flight K course. He is a very committed Christian and, a prayer leader. And he lived in a very troubled area in East London. And his nephew was about to go down for 27 years for possession of a firearm. And, he just didn't really know what to do about it. He went to see a psychic to see what was, what the likely outcome was. And the psychic said, nothing you can do, it's going down. Anyway, he didn't accept this. And he got his prayer group together and they prayed and prayed. And this guy, by some miracle, got let off. I mean, there was nobody that thought he was going to he had a chance, but the prayer of these really committed people and their faith manifested. It's extraordinary.
Yeah. So that's a good, because they reached down and they said, okay, we have faith in another power. The collective, a number of people doing it. It's like it activates that. It brings it into this realm, and then it creates these miraculous outcomes. How? It was going to get 27. I mean, that sounds outrageous for possession of a firearm, but anyway.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it just resolves. Like, you can't explain it by any other way than that. Yeah, there is a power. There is, if you have faith, that it does activate something, and it works, and it seems to work consistently. It's not, there's been so many of those kinds of situations, miracles that happen, that you start to realize you can't really doubt this anymore. It must be there. That power must be there. Which is the whole point. Okay, I don't doubt anymore. I absolutely know God is there. It doesn't matter what the ego is getting up to. It's there, and it always has the answer. It can guide me no matter what the ego's cooked up, if I have the faith to stay there. And then that's what it comes down to. Do I have faith in the truth or faith in the illusion? You can justify either. There's a logic for the ego to support it, and you can go down that route, and you can say, well, look, there's ample evidence for the ego's existence, and that God doesn't exist. God is dead. God is dead. There's no God. There's evidence of that if you want to see that. But what do you want to see? What do you want to believe? Because that's what you'll bring. That's going to be your experience. Your mind creates the reality. You believe in the truth, and you hold to that in the adversity, no matter what the temptation is. Then it seems to kind of manifest, because it's like, okay, you went deeper. It's like the depth that you've gone to. And an extreme test means that you have to go very deep into it to bring forth the miracle. And that's exactly what you need to correct your mind, to awaken you to the truth of who you really are. So do you see, it's so divinely perfect in its imperfection. All of this is happening for you to make you reach down deep, find that power, bring and really have faith in that. And you've come through this trial. You will know subsequently that there's nothing that you cannot do with that kind of faith, which is a huge realization to have had.
Yeah,
you wouldn't
absolutely.
have that without the trial.
Yeah,
The trial
it's there are aspects of it that look, from the ego's perspective, utterly unjust and completely mad, and yet in terms of growth and ending up in the right place, it's been miraculous.
It's exactly what you needed. So if you can surrender to that, then you go, well, it's all perfect in its imperfection. It's okay. I can be grateful for them. You see, because this is my one-man part. This is what's going to get me out of this nut house. I'm going to escape from this through this process. So why would I resist that? I can only be grateful to the Spirit for allowing me to go on this journey and see it correctly, to perceive it correctly, which is what this mind training is about. It's all happening for you if you can see it that way. And then the fear comes in and it tries to confuse you, doesn't it? Oh, no, it shouldn't be. Scrambles the mind, but you can always come back to like, no, remember the truth. This is happening for me. This is my one-man plan. This is my escape. This is how I get out of the matrix. So bring it on. Okay, this is the process. It seems to be really scary, but it's not actually, because if I stay true and I have the faith, there will be a miraculous outcome. I just trust. I know. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't have to know. And then you know, why would you fear? It's like, it's a done deal. It's going to be okay.
Yeah,
it will be. Oh. And then, you know, there'll be a miracle. There'll be a story, and maybe that then is the catalyst for a whole new life for you. A whole new, you know, you could share that story, build a career on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it's just a call
Lots of
now.
possibilities.
In these 3 weeks, I said to Aurelie and Susie earlier, I said, you know, just really go deep the next 3.5 weeks. Just say, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm really going to go deep into this process to really allow the Spirit to use it to undo the core of my ego, so that I can access this level of faith and trust, and be able to be truly useful to it, be truly helpful. Because if you're in that state of faith and trust, you're very useful to the Spirit. It can come through you. It's a clear channel. It can say, right, I can use you now because you surrendered. Your ego has been humbled. He who humbles himself will be made great. That's the meaning of it. You know, you humble yourself, and then the inspiration can flow through you and can extend through you in strange and miraculous ways to bless and heal many people in ways you can't conceive of in your ego. It won't allow you to see that. So that's your inspired purpose, which is coming. End of the course, that's going to be, you know, what's going to unfold for all of you. So you'll get that clearly, and then there's a way forward. You know, okay, so this is what I could do to actually actualize my this knowledge that I now have, to live it in a way that expresses it, extends it out through me. And the more I extend it and express it, the more I learn that it's true. So this is what's going to enforce it, entrench it, deepen my faith, so that, you know, I come to really know this as the truth. And I'm so certain in that I'm an inspiration to others, because they go, wow, Jackie, I want what you've got. Tell me how I can get that kind of faith. And then, you know, there's the opening to teach them.
Absolutely.
So,
well, you know, it had to go wrong, inverted commas, the way it did, and because that was all part of the breaking of the ego. And after one of these insane, barking mad court hearings where he got away with, you know, well, what he got away with, I actually messaged him saying, I wish you peace and happiness, or I missed you love and peace, something like that. I can't remember what it was, but that was because my ego was so gone because of that situation that had happened. I was able to do that. I think he was completely shocked, but then, you know, of course the ego comes back again and you end up back in the wrangle. But at that moment, when it was, you know, utter dismay and nothing that I, you know, my separate self could do, that was the only thing that came to me.
So like broke your ego. No, it's the cracking of the hard shell. And that's necessary. You know, if we're stubborn, we resist. So it's like, okay, well, you need the trial then to crack it open, to humble you, so that you can let go and you can really dig deep and you can find that spirit and you can allow that now to use you. Otherwise, you're still too egoic and you can't be used by the spirit. So it's all perfect in its apparent imperfection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's very comforting to know, you know, perfect in its imperfection. So however imperfect it seems to be, you go, it's actually perfect. It's all good. It's on track. It's not, nothing's ever out of alignment, because the Holy Spirit's always there guiding the whole thing. It just doesn't always seem that way. You know? Because the ego is going to come in and give its interpretation, and then you go into fear. You go, oh, you know, I'm going to die, or whatever's going to happen, I'm going to go to jail. But that is a misinterpretation of the situation. The correct interpretation, the true perception, which he's talking about here, says, no, I see this is only happening for me. It's happening for my good. Everything that happens is happening for me. Everything is happening for my benefit. It's a blessing. It may not seem like it, but it is. And if, you know, he says he says in the development of trust, that it takes great learning to realize that everything that happens to you is helpful. That's like stage one. If you can learn that, you move on to stage two. Everything that happens to me is actually helpful, especially the things that seem to be unhelpful. And there's a lot of learning. It takes a lot of learning to learn that, you know, because we've got to deny the ego's interpretation and deny our so-called human self and the world, the world's thought system to interpret it that way. And that's what, you know, that's what this is all about. And you need the trials to practice on. Without the trial, you probably wouldn't be doing this work. You're like, well, I'm kind of comfortably numb in a, you know, middle class suburban life, and it's not great, but it's okay. You know, I'll go to lunch and I'll do whatever, and I'll And where's the stretch? Where's the call to dig deep and find the truth?
Well, that's absolutely right. And it's, you know, it sort of breaks the ego. You think you're kind of, you know, protected because crazy stuff doesn't normally happen in Southwest London. It's a pretty safe place. If you the sort of fairly ordinary suburban life. But being in that situation with a crazy judge chucking penal notices at me like confetti, I thought, I've now got an experience of what some people go through in countries where that sort of mad behavior is just normal and you can't trust the systems. So it gave me more compassion, really. I mean, I was fortunate. I had friends and, various, obviously, Holy Spirit all helping me to get out of that situation. But it also, in breaking my trust in the egoic system, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
then you have to go.
Change my
you have
perception.
to go, and you have to have faith in God. Then you have to say, well, I can't trust in the system because it's betrayed me.
Yeah.
So then you have to put your faith somewhere else. And there's only one other place that you can put it, and that's your own true self, God, love, whatever you want to call it. So the breaking of the ego is necessary to realign you to now say, well, that didn't work, so put your trust in something else.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to go? There's nowhere else to go but God in that situation. So it was all perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
The outcome will be perfect. Whatever unfolds from it, it will be the perfect outcome.
Yeah.
For everyone, for everyone's learning and growth. And you just if you can accept that, why fear? There's no need to fear. It's a done deal. The script is written. It's already happened. It's already been loaded in, and it's just going to unfold. It's like the movie's been made, but it's just going to unfold screen by screen, sequence by sequence. That's what he means by the script is written. You can have faith. It's okay. The script is written. It's all going to unfold as it should. I'm just going to go through it and be the witness of all of it. Enjoy the ride without any fear.
Yeah, I mean, there's times when my egoic mind comes in and says, well, you're going to have to stand up to this and sort it out because of the situation with my youngest son, who I'm not in touch with, because he doesn't know what actually went on in this crazy scenario. But far better just to say it'll sort itself out in divine timing when it's meant to sort out. So trust that it will work out, and that's all part of the script.
Yeah, and all you have to do is keep letting go. That's all you have to do. It's so simple. This is such a simple course. Why do you resist it? All you have to do is keep letting go, and I'll give you everything, like miracles, whatever, and this will take you to revelation, like love, peace, joy, happy dream. Everything's there. All you have to do is keep letting go. How difficult is that to do?
No, absolutely fine.
Simple.
Yeah,
it's simple.
Doesn't always feel simple.
It's just the ego's resistance will be like, no, it can't be that simple. It's got to be more difficult. Got to find something else.
Well, the challenge is when like we've talked about, when the stress chemicals come in, it's hard to override that. But that's all practice as well, isn't it? Gradually, less reactive, less your body doesn't react in quite the same way. The trauma goes. It's work in progress.
Yeah, so this mind training is helping you to undo that default program of the fight or flight response, and you start diminishing the level of reaction. So you don't react in the same way. You don't get the same stress response, the same level of cortisol and adrenaline. You're deprogramming that system so that ultimately it's not even there. The parasympathetic nervous system takes over. That's the relaxation response, and your natural response to any challenge would be to drop into that. That's what we're trying to reprogram here.
Yeah.
So
that sounds good.
Yeah, and it's
once you can do that,
it's a lot of work, but you can do it. The spiritual masters, that's what they've done. They've reprogrammed the fight or flight response, which seems to be the sort of default mechanism built into human beings, and they've reprogrammed it with the higher self that can now come in and it can overcome that. And so they can stay very calm and very peaceful and in flow, even when most people would be like completely freaking out because like the stuff's happening and because they're reacting in the ego. So that's what this mind training is about. And it's time and it's practice, and it doesn't happen overnight, but you know, as you're progressing, you're seeing that it is things are changing. You know, you're doing this process, it's like you are getting more in control, emotions start to subside, you're not as fearful. As you said the other day, something came in, but then you were able to let it go more quickly. So you see these, you know, these little miracles show you that you're making progress. And but you see, you still need the tests in order to see where you are, in order to practice.
Yeah.
So you still need the emails and the situation coming in, because that's what's testing you. Okay,
Yeah.
well, this is where I'm at. Okay, I still know I need to do some more letting go still. So
Yeah, it's been an
situation
interesting.
will continue as long as it serves you, and then
Yeah.
it will go.
Yes, I needed that email because the day before I was feeling very peaceful. I thought, oh, I've got this crack now. And then came the email and I hadn't got it cracked.
And
it
then
was
it
still
triggers
affecting
again.
me,
So,
you know, 24 hours later. Not hugely, but it was there. It was what I've noticed is that the anger has gone, but there's still a reaction. So, you know, a response. Yeah, I've just got to keep dealing with them. And now
reaction comes up, you let it go. Reaction comes up, let it go. And that's all you do. That's the way you dissipate and ultimately undo the ego. As it comes up, you let it go. But you need the trigger to give rise to it. Otherwise, how do you let it go? So it's all perfect.
Yeah. Quite interesting, really. So my dilemma is how to respond to the email. Do I just send a one-word response, which I've done before, and just say noted, which doesn't give him anything to respond to? Or do I put my point of view, which then triggers him? He goes, you know, berserk, which then shows me that I've still got stuff to release. So do I go for the forgiveness opportunity or the easy way out by just doing the non-committal response? I don't know how that works, really.
Well, bring it on. Okay, let's do this. You know.
Right, the longer
the more triggered I get, the more easily I'll undo my ego. So okay, let's maybe. Then he comes back, and then you get you know, more opportunity to witness what's coming up. So it's okay, some more, but it takes courage, doesn't it? Because like you want to avoid that. You don't want to go there. You're like, oh, you know, I could just send noted and then I don't have to deal with it. But actually by saying, okay, well, let's send a longer email, let's bring this in so that it can come up so that I can deal with it. That's the kind of courageous thing to do, because you actually accelerate. You say, I want to be done with this. And this is how I'm going to be done with it. So he's the foil. He's helping you in your awakening, which is great, you know. So there's like it's all about soul contract. There's some kind of soul contract between you that you were going to do this.
Yeah.
He knows it on some level, but he's denied it, so he's forgotten that part, and he's just you know, he's got so in his ego that he's forgotten. There's that.
Well, I mean, that's, you know, he's triggered me on just about every single thing I ever, you know, valued. Everything I feared, you know, it's all been triggered and brought up. So he's done a great job.
Yeah. And so that would have been, you know, before you came, some kind of soul contract, and he has to forget. So you should read. I think this would actually really help you. Read the Little Soul in the Sun. It's by Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah, it's very good.
So read it again, because there's something in there, definitely.
Yeah.
The story, the you know, the little soul says to God. I mean, it's dualistic, so it's not ultimate truth, but the little soul says to the guide, you know, I want to know I want to know that I'm light. And God says, okay, well, no, I think that he wants to know, wants to know what forgiveness is. What is forgiveness? So God says, are you sure you want to know what forgiveness is? No, I want to know what forgiveness is. Okay, he says, well, we'll arrange it. So calls for a volunteer, some other soul comes in. Right. Who will give this soul a forgiveness offering? No, I'll do it. And the soul that's saying, I'll do it, says to the little soul, says, but remember that in order to do this, I have to forget who I am. I have to go into this crazy place called Earth, and I have to forget who I am. So remember, when I'm doing this, remember what we agreed. And remember to have compassion for me, because I've had to forget what I knew once in order to do this for you, so that you can learn how to forgive. That's the sort of that's the essence.
Yeah.
of this.
I must
So-
look that up again. It's very good.
Yeah. So it's a good reinterpretation. It's like he's had to forget who he is so thoroughly that he's going to behave in this, sociopathic, psychopathic way, and disconnect himself from his source to give you exactly the forgiveness lessons that you need to awaken.
Mm.
And there's some kind of soul contract in that he agreed to do that and lose himself in the dream. Now you can only really have empathy for him because he's lost himself. He doesn't know who he is, and he's the ego's in charge, and it can't be a happy. It's not a happy state to be in ultimately.
Mm.
So that you can have this experience and awaken. So he's actually your greatest friend, just in disguise.
Yes.
Heavy disguise, yeah? It's heavy disguise. But it's actually helping you to do the work you came here to do, to awaken to the ultimate truth that you are, one with God. And he's probably the greatest teacher of that lesson in this lifetime for you. Well, that's pretty amazing, really, if you look at it that way.
Quite funny, really, because shortly after we got married, I was miserable. I came across A Course in Miracles, and I didn't stick with it. It was too impenetrable at that stage, and I was very resistant to the God language. Then ended up going to church for 12 years. And then as the marriage ended, got very deeply into the Course, and it really became, the thing that took me out of the marriage and led me through the divorce, enabled me to deal with it all. And so it's like A Course in Miracles has been there throughout the entire marriage in some form. So it feels very significant that his role was to bring me to this teaching.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, at exactly the right time, you're going much more deeply into it to really get this on a deep level, so that you live it. You become the miracle worker. And it's all unfolding perfectly. You can only go, wow, that's amazing, if I see it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why, there's no need for any fear.
No, there really isn't. And that's what got me through it this morning, was just what we've been talking about in the last few days. There's only the choice between believing you're a separate self, believing you're, formless awareness, the one. And that was something I haven't really done before. I've released, the blocks, so the anger, the upset, all that stuff, but to actually just go straight to that decision was something new, and that's what worked.
Yeah, so he's giving us the direct route. He says, if you can just do this and save yourself a lot of time. He said it the other day in the text. All the other remedies, you don't need to bother with that if you can just accept their one-ment.
Yeah.
The truth is true and nothing else is true. That's the simple message of that one-ment. Nothing else is necessary. If you fully accept that, then as we talked about, all the modalities, all the techniques, all of that, it's not necessary anymore. You've accepted the truth. and the
Yeah.
truth is what heals. So
Well, so one of the, I mean, I was doing one of the modalities I do, it's called havening. And the way that works is that you actually generate delta waves, and raise it because we talked about brain waves the other night, through the touch sensors in the skin. So, you kind of rub your hands together or rub your arms. And it does have an amazing effect. Delta is the state where you can take in and absorb information in deep sleep. So I'm going to keep doing that. That was a very useful thing to do. It's, I was just doing the technique while affirming that I was one.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you
Is that
combine
the-
these modalities, it can be really, because you go into an altered state, you're in delta, and then you say, I am love, I am one, and it has much more of an impact than if you're in a pi beta state and your mind's kind of scattered, and it really, goes in. So the advantage of doing this kind of mind training in a kind of meditative state is huge. So it just gets programmed in more deeply.
What
Yeah.
technique, Jackie, you're talking about?
It's called havening, Havening.
Okay, wait. H-A?
Havening.
N-G.
I can do a session with you, Orly, if you like. I've done training in it, so
Yeah.
show it to you.
Yeah, I
Useful
need
for
to
you
get
ahead of
myself
your-
stress-free from that for that trial.
Yeah, let's do a session. And
Yeah,
it's a
thanks.
fantastic trauma release as well.
Cool.
So I'll show you how it works, and then
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Alternative therapy technique incorporates distraction and eye movement. Okay, interesting. So I never heard of it.
Me neither.
it's Paul McKenna's a huge fan. He was very involved in getting it started because he showed EFT to a doctor in New York who reluctantly agreed to try it out on his patients with phobias, I think it was, and didn't expect it to work. Found out EFT did work, but didn't feel he could bring it into basically Western medicine because it's based on Eastern techniques, Western meridians. So he then worked out havening, which uses a different method in which he could explain using the Western medicine paradigm. Yeah, here we go. Ron Rudin. I don't know whether it's Steve Rudin first. So it's mostly Ron Rudin who developed it, and his brother Steve was a dentist. So they both,
Changing pathways in the brain linked to emotional distress.
yeah,
Touch can use the production of serotonin, helps you relax and detach from an upsetting mental experience.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I've done sessions with people where they've been like, what a young girl who stayed with me last year, a couple of years ago. She'd recently lost her father and she couldn't function. And within, really about 20 minutes of doing this, she was a totally different place. It distances the memory. So yeah.
Interesting. So the serotonin would then undo the stress chemicals. It's the counter to all the stress chemicals. So it takes you into a nice relaxed state of mind where that upsetting memory or experience is reinterpreted from a peaceful state of mind. So they're using the biochemistry of the body. They're saying, well, if you touch, then it produces serotonin, which then changes your internal state. So if you look at integral model, it's using something external, still magic, but it, as you said, it can be helpful. Touch would stimulate serotonin on the biochemical level, which then allows a shift in the mental state, because the serotonin will then affect the mental state and become more peaceful. So it's kind of working outside in to get a change of mind, that now the patient can, once they've got access to that, they could then say, okay, well, now I can make a choice. I know that state's there. And so I could do other things like meditation and whatever to help me get it in. So instead of drugs, because drugs kind of try and do that, they're just using touch to produce natural chemicals in the body, because the body, is a chemical factory. A much better approach.
Yeah, I mean that's a very brief description that you've come up with there. I mean, the way we were taught was that when a trauma is encoded, you get receptors that come up on the neurons in the brain, and there's a rather complex chemical process that involves magnesium and calcium all changing places, so that those receptors actually essentially dissolve. So the generation of the delta waves, goes through this process, and you permanently dissolve the trauma. So
approaching it from like some kind of objective, so touch then leads to the change in the chemicals, which then changes the mind. So it's using that link between them, but working from there to there instead of just changing your mind, which is what this approach is. Just let go, helping someone to let go by using some magic temporarily to make the at-one-ment more accessible to them.
Well, you could. I mean, I wouldn't say it's any more magic than meditation is. It's just a method of using the body, not breathing. It's just another method, isn't it? I find something like that because I find it very difficult to get into meditation.
Yeah, well, it's a technique. It's
high anxiety state. Whereas something like havening, or another one I do is Psych K. They help me to release the anxiety, and then I can do the thought process.
Yeah.
Interesting.
These things can all be helpful.
Sorry, I was just going to say that it works slightly different for me. So when I've used havening, so I had a near-death experience on the motorway, and I used havening while I was focused on the event, which was traumatic. And so now when I think of the event, I'm relaxed because I've had the body havening that makes me feel relaxed, and I've linked it with the trauma.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're changing your mind. I'm changing my mind about the event by doing the havening.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
that's
it's reprogramming my vision of the trauma when now I picture myself relaxed in the car on the motorway.
Yeah.
No, it's just interesting.
Yeah. So the mind doesn't know the difference. It's interesting there. The mind doesn't know the difference between what actually happened and what you've reprogrammed.
Yeah, because it's all now. Yeah.
So you can use it to release.
So you just reprogram, and then that becomes your new reality. You overwrite the past program.
We have one each.
We're fighting for the laptop.
Yeah, so you can put in positives as well as releasing the trauma. So you could haven in things like confidence or peace or whatever positive state of mind you want to put in. But it's amazing how people can hang on to parts of traumas. I mean, the trainer that I trained with, she talked about her grandmother who had a complete phobia of buttons. It made no sense whatsoever. And digging into this whole scenario, eventually, and the grandmother had no memory of where this came from. Eventually, they were able to get down to her having been basically molested on a train, and the only part of the incident that she remembered was the button on the guy's trousers, and so it created trauma over her lifetime. And it was all represented in buttons. So buttons. So if she saw a button, she just
how the mind makes these associations. Fascinating. Okay, so where were we? Number 3. We kind of got a bit sidetracked there. So good sidetrack. Right?
I said I've been out, I've cooked the tea, I've done the dog, and I've come back, and he's still on number 3.
I know. This is why it takes time. Correction enables you to perceive
Okay, the
everything that is
correction.
in truth.
Oh, we've done that. Yeah, we did that, didn't we?
We do that one. Just start from the top. I can't remember what we've done. What we haven't of this. I think we got halfway through.
Okay, when you lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. This is hardly a correction-minded frame of reference. It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the correction. The correction enables you to perceive everything as it is in truth. Nothing but the truth exists. Right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. Okay, that seems good.
Yeah.
I have said that only what pure formless awareness of perfect love creates, or what you create with the same awareness, has any real existence. You want to change create?
Create, extend, I think. Extend. Extends. Do you extend with the same awareness as any real existence? This then is all the innocent can see.
It's all the innocent. Average, do you want to say comma or right-minded? Comma can see.
Yeah, it's all the innocent or right-minded. Okay.
You do not suffer from distorted perception. Distorted perception, misperception? No.
No, I think keep it as just. I quite like distorted perception.
Okay.
Okay, so what's he saying there in essence? Can you summarize that?
So if you lack faith in what someone will do, you're reinforcing your belief that he's not in his right mind, which is going to block miracle. Okay.
Do we need to say that, or can we take that off? Hardly a correction-minded frame of reference. Maybe. Hardly a correction-minded frame of reference.
Quite good, that actually.
Yeah, so I'm not being correction-minded, my frame of reference, because there's no faith. You know, I'm worried that the person's going to behave egoically.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I'm attesting, I'm reinforcing my belief in the ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Blimey. That's
Yeah, isn't it?
when you're faced with
Expect
an
you to
ego,
behave
maybe.
in the ego. Well, I must be then believing that the ego is real. If I expect you to behave egoically, even if that person has done it repeatedly, you're still not in a correction-minded frame of reference, are you? Because you're believing in the belief what doesn't exist.
Living in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, based on your past experience. Oh well, it's always been this way, so therefore that's how it's going to continue. That's what the ego says.
Yeah.
Spirit says, no, it doesn't have to always be that way, because, and if it has always been that way, it's still false. All of it's false. So do the correction anyway. Whatever the person does or doesn't do, don't expect them to do the worst, because that's not helpful. It's not helping you to correct your mind. And you're not opening your mind to the correction, to any healing. If you expect them to do the worst, it's likely they will do the worst. That's just how it goes. Isn't it? So
How do you, what's the difference between believing in the best and being foolhardy? I mean, it's okay to believe in the best if there's no real, repercussion. But
Well, the ego is going to tell you this is naive and you're going to get hurt.
yeah,
That's the story.
yeah,
But if only the light is real and true, and you hold only to that, then you have the faith that nothing can hurt you. That what doesn't exist cannot hurt you because it's not really there.
okay.
So you bring in
practice.
then the power of the light into the situation, saying, okay, I'm going to bring the light into the darkness and allow it to correct it. And light will always overcome darkness in any situation if you bring it in, as he's saying. So the danger is we lack the faith to go, okay, I'm going the whole way with this. I'm giving everything to God because he's saying you must ultimately give everything to God. There's no choice here. It's all an all or nothing deal. So I'm willing now to go the whole way and surrender completely and say, okay, I like whatever you do it. I will trust whatever. I will apply this teaching, whatever, and I trust that if I do this, everything's going to work out okay. And I can't really be hurt if I'm acting in the spirit.
Mm.
And the ego is going to have a lot of resistance to that because it still wants to have its say. Oh, no, but Jackie, I take care of you. Don't forget, I keep you safe. Listen to me. On it goes. Because I'll keep you safe. Well, what's it keeping safe, really?
Mm. Yeah.
The identity of Jackie, which is the separate self, which is why you got into this mess in the first place. Because you're a separate self. That's only a separate self can experience divorce and court actions, and pure formless awareness knows nothing of any of this. So it's trying to defend the identity that got you into the mess in the first place. Doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Okay. So correction from it also has a disastrous effect, denying the power of the correction. Okay. So this also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the correction.
Is it to be the correction or the power of correction?
Denying the correction.
I like the power of, but I don't know whether it should be the correction or just a correction.
Yeah, denying the power of correction. Yeah, could do that. Denying the power of correction. Perceive everything as it is in truth. Power of correction, which enables me to perceive everything as it is in truth.
Yeah, nothing but the truth
exists.
Right mind is can only see perfection.
Perception, maybe. Where's the spelling gone? I don't know where spelling is. There we go. So maybe we want to change that up here. Right-minded. Perception cannot so my right-minded perception cannot perceive anything except perfection.
I'm just going to get rid of the double negative. My right-minded perception. Well, I think I wouldn't repeat perceiving perception. Only sees perfection, I would say.
No, can only perceive perfection. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, so nothing but the truth exists. Said that only what pure formless awareness, perfect love extends, or what you extend with the same awareness as any real existence. Same as all the innocent or right-minded can see. They do not suffer from distorted perception. So maybe I can can only extend what pure formless awareness of perfect love extends through me. Which is all. Which is all that has real existence. This then is all innocent or right-minded can see they do not suffer from distorted perception. Okay. Right-minded perception can only perceive perfection. I can only extend what pure formless awareness, perfect love extends through me, which is all that has real existence. Are you happy with that? Can we read it from the top?
Yeah. When I lack confidence in what someone will do, I'm reinforcing my belief that he is not in his right mind, which is hardly a correction-minded frame of reference. This also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of correction, which enables me to perceive everything as it is in truth. If nothing but the truth exists, my right-minded perception can only perceive perfection. I can only extend what pure formless awareness of perfect love extends through me, which is all that has real existence.
All it has. How about just reality?
Yeah.
Which is the only thing that is real, something like that. Which is the only
True reality.
So when you extend what pure formless awareness of perfect love extends through you, that's the only thing that's really real in your life. That's what's coming through from source, which is why it feels inspiring, why it feels like this is my calling, and I really value it, because it's an extension of reality. There's only thing that is only thing that is real. Yeah. How about this is all that is real?
Yep.
Well, this is the only thing that is real.
Yeah, Shiva. Got we've got a whole enormous tome to translate. I don't think we can be too perfectionist.
Yeah. Okay. So happy with that?
That's great.
Did you? I think you read it from the top, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So number 4. You're afraid of God's will. John, would you like to read that?
Yeah. You are afraid of God's will because you have used your own mind, which he created in the likeness of his own, to miscreate. I think he's doing in this sentence what he sometimes does, which is kind of the sentence is a bit disjointed in the sense of to miscreate applies to his mind, which is in the previous phrase. Anyway, sorry,
Okay.
going on.
Well, how do you want to fix it? You're afraid of pure formless awareness of perfect love's will. So let's just change that to perfect love's will. Perfect love's. No, in fact, no. Perfect love's will. God's will is pure formless awareness of perfect love. So awareness is in there. Afraid of pure formless awareness of perfect love because you've used your own mind, which it
Created.
extends, or how about make it present tense? It extends in the likeness of its own. Extends in the likeness of its own to miscreate. Okay.
Yeah, when I read this earlier, I couldn't kind of get it because
No.
those two last words, to miscreate.
Yeah.
You have this whole kind of half a sentence in the middle there. You are afraid of
Yeah.
God's will because you have used your own mind to miscreate.
Yeah.
It was connecting the to miscreate up with the first
With
part.
your own mind. Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, maybe there's a better way of saying which it extends. I mean, he has put that in commas in between commas, parentheses. So I mean, I don't know. Jackie, is that okay? What do you think? Is that all right? Jackie's busy.
Yeah.
Does that look all right?
Yeah.
It extends in the likeness of its own. I mean, it's got the commas in there, which kind of relates to the mind. It extends in the likeness of its own to miscreate. I'm not sure how else we'd say that because the mind it's
No.
related to. Yeah.
I mean, it's a form that he uses quite often, and it's thrown me a few times.
Yeah.
And it's only now that I'm beginning to see that.
What he does.
Yeah. It's just the kind of grammatical, not grammatical,
Yeah.
but way he kind of phrases
Structure
it.
the sentence. Yeah. Okay. So the mind can.
The mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
No, it doesn't. The mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with why.
Belief is not free.
No, struggling with that one. The
Okay.
mind can create only when it believes it is not free.
Yeah. So it's not free because it's got a false idea going on in its mind of separation and a separate identity. So we believe in separation. We believe we're not free. We're not in free awareness. We're now in limited awareness, in this separate self and idea of separation. So an imprisoned mind. Carry on. Maybe it'll also clarify for you.
Yeah, an imprisoned mind is not free. Okay, yeah. An imprisoned mind is not free because it is possessed or held back by itself.
Yeah. So it's possessed by this idea. We're possessed by the idea of separation. And
So
we hold ourselves back.
So the mind can miscreate only when it believes it is possessed or held back.
Yeah, when it's possessed of an idea, remember the possession is the idea of separation. So free will, or free awareness, is an awareness that where there is no separation. That idea of the separation is not present. That's the true meaning of free will. We interpret it in this world as free will is the ability to choose
Yeah.
between the ego and the Holy Spirit, or between various options presented by the ego. And we have free will. And actually, the true free will is just your true awareness, free awareness that doesn't have any limitations in it, because it's not possessed by this crazy idea of separation. Yeah. So, imprisoned mind is not free because it is possessed or held back by itself, right? Its own idea, the idea of separation, is what's going to hold it back and is what possesses the mind. And then seems to miscreate that idea of separation. User is now thought by the mind, experienced by the mind, projected out by the mind to miscreate.
Yes. Okay.
Is therefore limited.
It is therefore limited. It is therefore limited, and the will is not free to assert itself. Should that be a capital will with a capital W? In fact, should it be will at all?
Will, so maybe we just translate it as awareness, and
Yeah, it is therefore limited, and awareness is not free to assert itself.
yeah, and
Would awareness actually assert itself?
okay, maybe change that. Pure formless awareness is not free to yeah, it's a turn of phrase. It is not free to
Blossom.
yeah, to something like that. To be the all-encompassing awareness of the mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's all-encompassing. You see why it's an all or nothing deal? Because pure formless awareness is only pure and formless if there's nothing else going on. There's no limitation, there's no block on that. That's why this is all or nothing. One block, one limited belief, then you're not in pure formless awareness. And you deny pure formless awareness entirely.
Yeah. Yep, that's good.
Okay?
To be one is to be of one mind or will.
Yeah, so we'll translate that as awareness. And I think the mind, one mind, we're talking about the higher mind, the Christ mind, that should be capitalized. Yeah.
Yeah. When the will of the when the awareness of the extension and the source are one, the perfect accord is the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah. Perfect accord is the state of pure formless awareness. Their perfect, how about their perfect unity? That's nice.
Yeah.
Perfect unity is a state. So this is the merging. You know, he's talking about the merging of our awareness with the source's awareness.
Yeah.
It's one awareness when there's nothing else, without limitation, without opposite, totally unconditioned. And that's, you know, that's bliss. That's ineffable, pure awareness, which is the merging of the Father with the Son, the mystical merging of the Father with the Son. Our awareness becomes its awareness. Its awareness is our awareness, and there is no separation anymore. It's merged into one awareness. That is the final outcome of the at one-ment. Okay. So how do we can we summarize that a bit? So I'm afraid.
I was going to say, fear can only arise when we believe
Okay. How about we just stick to, we just personalize. I'm afraid of pure formless awareness of perfect love because I've used my own mind, which it extends in the likeness of its own. Do we want to say that in the summary, or just maybe it's useful? My mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not true. Not free because it's possessed. My mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free. Just to allow it to be possessed. Like we said, by the idea of separation.
Yeah, okay.
It is therefore limited and pure for my free to be the all-encompassing awareness of my mind. And when I say when I accept this awareness, when I accept this awareness, only I'm united with my source and will experience the state of pure formless awareness. How's that sound? Want to read it from the top?
I'm afraid of pure formless awareness of perfect love because I have used my own mind. It extends in the likeness of its own to miscreate. My mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free, which is to allow it to be possessed by the idea of separation. It is therefore limited, and pure formless awareness is not free to be the all-encompassing awareness of my mind. When I accept this awareness only, I am united with my source and will experience the state of pure formless awareness.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah.
So he's telling us this is the merging of the Father and the Son in your own mind, in your own experience. And when you do that, you experience heaven. It's the state of pure formless awareness of perfect love, bliss. Okay, so happy to move to number 5.
Yeah.
Where to go? Nothing can prevail. Who wants to read number 5? Susie, do you want to read first? Susie there? Susie, are you with us? Someone else maybe? Elaine? Elaine. Elaine, do you want to read it first?
Oh, sorry, I was. Where are we?
Number 5, nothing can prevail.
Okay. Nothing can prevail against a son of God who commends his spirit into the hands of his Father. Nothing can prevail against an extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love who commends his spirit into the hands of his source.
Yeah, so he commands his spirit. So how do we translate spirit? His awareness. How about that? His awareness into the hands of, into the how about embrace of? It's quite nice.
Of his source, yeah, that's good.
To the embrace of his source. So we surrender to this, the divine embrace, and just allow this awareness to become our awareness. Okay, by doing this, the mind awakens.
By doing this, the mind awakens from its sleep and remembers its creator. By doing this, the mind awakens from its sleep and remembers its creator.
Creator, we can make source. Okay, so we remember our source if we trust and we go into this awareness. Commends. Do we want another word? Commends. Who
Begins.
How about who merges? Commends a bit old-fashioned. Who merges his awareness with his sources awareness. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Does that work? I think it works.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Merges awareness. By doing this, the mind awakens from its sleep and remembers its source. Okay, all sense of separate. Carry on.
All sense of separation disappears.
And read the original. Son of God.
The Son of God is part of the Holy Trinity, but the Trinity itself is one.
Okay, it's the Holy Trinity. So the extension of perfect love is part of the Holy Trinity, but the Trinity itself is one. Okay, so he's going to explain that to us. There's no confusion. Carry on.
Mm-hmm. There is no confusion within its levels because they are of one mind and one will.
And will is awareness. you want to say, instead of, maybe come from?
Mhm.
Come from one mind and one awareness. So if we have a look at our Holy Trinity diagram, this is operating system for your life. You've got pure formless awareness of perfect love, God, the Father, heaven, truth, oneness, being, source, knowledge, revelation, spirit, isness, whatever you want to call it, is at the top there. So that's source, and then this extends in the Holy Trinity to the true self, or the Christ, which is the Son, also known as the Buddha or the Atman in some of the Eastern teachings. It extends into this self concept. This is your higher self concept. It's still a concept, but it doesn't deny the truth, because it only believes that there's one self. So it's of the same order, it's in the same line. This is just perfect oneness, experience of perfect oneness. This is the one self that comes out of that experience that allows you to reinterpret the dream. So this, from this perspective of the one self, you can now have perceptions, but they're true perceptions, or Christ's vision, also known as miracles, forgiveness, letting go, surrender, acceptance, salvation, enlightenment, enlightenment, or awakening. It enables you to reinterpret the entire dream. People, things, places, events, circumstances, situations, trauma, successes, failures, and all experiences seem to exist and happen in physical universe of time and space. So it allows you to reinterpret all of that with the help of what we call the Holy Spirit, which is represented by the arrow, which is the reinterpretation. That's what the Holy Spirit is, the ability and the actuality of reinterpreting from one thought system, what you're perceiving, to another, from the perspective now of the one self. That is the miracle. And that's what the Holy Spirit is, that reinterpretation or transformation of mind. And so it's in what he's saying is it's in one line. It's coming from the same mind. It's all coming from oneness. And then it extends through your mind and it reinterprets the dream for you. But it's in the same order, ultimately coming from the same source, just extended seemingly outward through you into your mind and into your perception of the world. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
No confusion within its levels, because they come from one mind and one awareness.
Next.
Yeah, this single purpose.
This single purpose creates perfect integration and establishes the peace of pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Establishes the peace of God, which is the original, the peace of perfect love. So one purpose means there can be no conflict. Single purpose is perfect integration. There's no conflict, there's no disharmony, and then it establishes perfect peace. Okay, carry on. Yet this vision.
Yet this vision can be perceived only by truly innocent. Oh, only by the truly innocent, yeah. It can be perceived only by the truly innocent.
So we need to have corrected our minds. Single purpose, perfect integration, perfect peace, only by the truly innocent. As long as our mind is split and we still believe in the reality of what isn't true, then we're not going to be able to have this perfect integration and perfectly at peace. Okay, because their hearts are pure.
Because their hearts are pure, the innocent defend true perception instead of defending themselves against it.
Okay, so if we go back to our diagram, the innocent defend true perception. So you will hold to the correct interpretation, true perception or Christ's vision of all the circumstances, situations, people, places, events, and everything that goes on in time and space. And defending it means you hold to that even when the ego is tempting you to go out of that and believe in its story. Rather than instead of defending themselves against it. So maybe instead of defend, they nurture or foster.
Nurture.
What do you think? Foster true perception.
Nurture.
Instead of defending themselves against it. You prefer nurture? What do you think?
Sounds a bit, more, nurture.
Like nurture. Okay, so nurture true perception instead of defending themselves against it. So what the ego is always trying to do is defend against the reinterpretation, against true perception. Say, no, that's wrong. I'm right. That reinterpretation can't be right. And we defend our ego, our separate self, against the true perception, because it's the undoing. The ego knows that it's the undoing of itself. So huge resistance to it. Okay, so understanding
the lesson of the atonement, they are without the wish to attack, and therefore they see truly. Or at-one-ment, I should say. Understanding the lesson of the at-one-ment.
Yeah. And therefore they perceive truly. Okay.
This is what the Bible means when it says, when he shall appear or be perceived, we shall be like him, or we shall see him as he is.
Appear or be perceived, we shall be like him, or we shall, well, it's actually a quote, so maybe we should just keep it. Or we shall, so it's a quote, we'll keep it as it is. We shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Okay, so what does he mean by that? When he shall appear, be perceived, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Interesting, and it's all small h's. Wonder. It's all bringing up biblical quotes. No, is that actually a biblical quote? Not coming up with any biblical stuff, is it? When he shall appear, we shall be like him. Let's go. Bible quote. Let's see what happens. Beloved, now we the sons of God does not yet appear what we shall be. Know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Okay, so that's the original. From John, beloved, now we the sons of God, it does not appear what we shall be. But we know that when we shall appear, When he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Let us hope in him, purify himself even as he is pure. The manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, we should be called the sons of God. Interesting. So this is actually, they don't say there's one son of God. They say there's many sons of God. So interesting. It's actually in the Bible. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. So presumably referring to Yeshua. We know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him as he is. Okay, so
Referring to the second coming.
Yeah,
sounds-
it's referring to the Christ, really. You know, I mean, it's talking about Yeshua, but he's saying this is what it really means, without the wish to attack, and therefore they perceive truly. And it says, when he shall appear or be perceived, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. So we could do a bit of summary of that and change it a bit. Okay, so let's look at doing a quick summary. So, personalized. So nothing can prevail. There's awareness. So nothing can prevail against me when I merge this is what we were talking about earlier. Nothing can prevail against me when I merge my awareness with my source's awareness. I am invulnerable, I'm invincible, I'm indestructible, and the ego cannot prevail. By doing this, my mind awakens from its sleep and remembers its source. And I remember my source. All sense of separation. Sleep. All sense of separation disappears. And I remember my source. I'm part of the Holy Trinity, but the Trinity itself is one. No confusion with its levels, because
Why don't you say I'm one with the Holy Trinity? If you remember your source, you become one with your Holy Trinity. You're one with the Holy Trinity.
yes, I remember my source.
Instead of leaving, but the Trinity itself is one. Why don't you say I'm one with the Holy Trinity?
So I'm part of the Holy Trinity. I'm one with the Holy Trinity.
No, instead of leaving, but the Trinity itself is one, you just say I'm one with the Holy Trinity. Because otherwise you repeat Trinity twice.
Yeah, okay. But then I'm part of the Holy Trinity. I'm one with the Holy Trinity. Maybe we just need to eliminate. I'm really one with the Holy Trinity. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because there is no confusion within its levels. As they come from one mind and one awareness. This single purpose creates perfect integration, establishes perfect peace. So when I have this.
And what about as we come from one mind instead of they come from one mind? As we come from one mind.
Yeah, I'm really one of them, because there's no confusion with as
we come from one mind.
come from one mind and one awareness. We all come from one mind and one awareness. When I have this singular awareness, I quite like purpose, actually. I think let's keep the purpose. What do you think?
Yeah.
The
Purpose
single
is good.
purpose.
Purpose is good.
It's perfect, and I will feel fully integrated and perfectly peaceful.
Yeah.
Vision can be perceived only by the truly innocent. Yet I must believe, I must know, it's deeper than belief, I must know I am truly innocent to experience this. Because their hearts are pure, their innocent, nurture true perception instead of defending themselves against us. Must know
Our hearts, because our hearts are pure.
therefore, I nurture true perception instead of defending myself against it.
You left the 7 just above there. Yet I must know I'm innocent. I'm truly innocent.
Okay, thanks. And I'm without the wish to attack. And you can take that one out. Okay, so do you want to read that from the top, Elaine?
Yeah. Nothing can prevail against me. Yeah. When I merge my awareness with my source's awareness. By doing this, my mind awakens from its sleep. All sense of separation disappears and I remember my source. I am really one with the Holy Trinity because there is no confusion with its levels, as we all come from one mind and one awareness. When I have this single purpose, I will feel fully integrated and perfectly peaceful. Yet I must know I am truly innocent to experience this. Therefore, I nurture true perception instead of defending myself against it, and am without the wish to attack, and so perceive truly.
A good one.
Without the wish to attack, and so I perceive truly. Nurture true perception without the wish to attack, and so perceive truly. Okay, so in your own words, in like a sentence or two, what's he saying there?
Well, where we emerge from awareness with the source's awareness. By doing this, the mind awakens from its sleep. When I have this single purpose, it's integrated into perfectly peaceful. I nurture true perception, and yeah, it says it. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward there.
So I merge my own awareness with my source's awareness. I surrender my sense of separation. I realize I'm one with the Holy Trinity because it's all coming from one mind and one awareness. And I have a single purpose, which leads to perfect peace. And so my perception is true. I can only experience true perception. See how it all goes in one line. I merge my awareness with this awareness. I accept that this is all I am. So now I have the idea that I'm only one self, which is directing all of my perceptions, my thoughts, words, and actions, my perceptions of all this. And it's in the same line. It's coming from pure formless awareness through the Christ, the true self, which can then perceive correctly in one line. And this is how it works. This is how the operating system works. So now my perceptions must be true because they're coming from a true source, ultimately. Although this doesn't know perception, it doesn't know about time and space, through this mechanism of the Christ and the Holy Spirit, we can take this awareness and we can use it to reinterpret the dream. So this is how pure formless awareness of perfect love comes into our experience again, manifests in our experience. We see that our perceptions change. Everything in the world changes when we bring in this awareness. Which means that, as we get these perfectly integrated experiences, more peace, more love, more joy, more flow in our lives, we start to realize that, yes, there is only one awareness. I'm not split off. The Holy Trinity is really just one awareness operating in this world, seemingly through a self and the reinterpretation of what that self experiences. So it's a useful construct in the illusion, but ultimately it's the Holy Trinity is one. It's one awareness coming from one awareness. That's what he's saying. But a very useful operating system while we're in the dream, to be able to ultimately merge our awareness back with our sources. Okay, so any questions on number 5? Happy to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, last paragraph.
So on number 5, I think if you check number 5 about like the paragraph that we just did now, check the not in the summary, in the text, the alternative text, number 5. Yeah, number 5. If you see number 5, it says they are come from one mind. You must remove the are. They are, or they come.
Okay. There's no confusion with levels because they come.
Or they are from one mind and one awareness. Or they come, yeah, we say they come, so.
Come from one mind. Okay, thanks for picking that up. Okay. So number 6, he would like to do that. Orly, do you want to read that?
Okay. The way to correct distortions is to withdraw your faith in them and invest it only in what is true. You cannot make untruths true.
So you cannot make untruth true. We must withdraw our faith from our distortion. So we talked about faith earlier. It's where you put your faith.
Yeah.
Invest it only in what is true.
Do we live untruth true?
Yeah, we could, or we could say false. You cannot make what is false
true.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of, I mean, it's so obvious. He's just stating.
Yeah.
How could we be so blind as to think we could, but we have.
Yeah.
That's the whole delusion
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to correct.
What is false true? You cannot make what is false true.
To withdraw your faith is to, how would we say, let go of your. So when you let go of something, you're letting go of your faith in that illusion,
Mm-hmm.
and then allowing yourself to invest it only in what is true.
You cannot make
Can't
what
honor
is
two
false
masters.
true.
Can't have faith in what's false and also have faith in what's true, because they're
Yeah.
contradictory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, because what you see in today's reality is actually a lot of false practice.
Mhm. Yeah.
In the world of religion, there's a lot of false practice. They make the false true.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole distortion.
Yeah.
Get confused. What is false has become true, and what's true becomes false, and now we're horribly confused.
Confused. There's a lot of
We don't know the difference between what's true and
yeah.
what's false, which is a fundamental error.
Yeah.
The error, he says, this kind of error it's almost incomprehensible. It's so huge. To confuse truth and illusion is
Yeah.
incomprehensible, and that's why this is all impossible. You can't really do it. But we think we have, and that's the problem. So we think we must correct the delusion, the distortion, as he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
Have your faith in them and invest the faith, only in what is true.
In truth, yeah. In what is true.
May I
Yeah.
suggest that let go of we tend to use that in a positive sense, don't we? I thought withdraw was quite good. It also kind of links quite nicely with invest. You can
Okay.
invest your money.
Yeah, withdraw was
your
good.
money.
You're right. Yeah, withdraw is good.
And you could, if you
Withdraw your
wanted, to switch faith to belief, as we're using faith in a positive sense, but it's not so important, I don't think.
Draw your faith. Yeah, I think I quite like faith, because then he's asking us to invest faith in what is
Yeah,
true.
okay. Okay, that makes sense.
We could say your belief.
Let's leave it as faith. I think that works.
And the face is good, yeah.
And
Yeah.
invest faith only in what is
Believe
true.
in them and invest faith.
Doesn't quite work.
No,
saying invest
leave it as it was. Faith is good.
No, okay. Draw your faith. Okay. Cannot make what is false true.
True. If you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, you let it be true for you. If you are willing to accept what is true in everything you perceive, you let it be true for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Truth overcomes all error, and those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting solace. Solace, I don't know.
Yeah. Solace, maybe we want to change that. Comfort. Solace is comfort.
Okay.
And find lasting comfort.
Okay.
Truth overcomes all error. Those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting comfort.
If you perceive truly, you are cancelling out misperceptions in yourself and in others simultaneously. Because you see them as they are, you offer them your acceptance of their truth so they can accept it for themselves. This is the healing that the miracle induces. This is the healing that the correction induces. Yeah.
Yeah. Induces or leads to.
Yeah, the correction leads to, yeah. Or bring the healing that the correction brings. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do a translation of this. A little summary, I mean.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we just did.
No, we've done the translation. So there's reading, then there's translation into alternative language, then there's a personalized executive summary, so it becomes so it's like, you know, so you're getting 3 looks at this, aren't you? And if you think about the learning, each paragraph, you're getting 3 looks at it: the original, then the alternative, translated, and then a personalized executive summary of it, so that you
Yeah.
really go, okay, but I must, you know, perceive.
Yeah.
The way to
Which is-
correct my distortions is to withdraw my faith in them.
Yeah,
Somehow it takes it to a different level, doesn't it?
it does.
My
I really
distortion
enjoy those
becomes
summaries because
personal.
it makes it clear to understand. And
And it's
as you
personal.
say, as you say,
It's like an affirmation. I must
Yeah.
correct. The way to correct my distortion is
yes,
to withdraw. So it's not a theory anymore, somewhere
it's
out
a
there, something else.
practical. Yeah, you apply
My
it in your life. You apply it.
Practice. Withdraw my faith in them and invest it only in what is true.
Mm.
I cannot make what is false true. And somehow that's just so much more powerful when you say,
I am
can.
willing to accept what is true. You
Yeah.
know, in everything I perceive.
Everything I perceive.
I then let it be true for myself.
Let it be true for my capital
Yeah.
self. That. So it's a willingness, it's a desire.
Yeah.
This is why in the instrument for peace diagram, it says that desire is at the core of the transformation, because it comes down to the desire. Where are we? Instrument for peace.
Yeah.
Now I'm willing, I desire
It's a
to
prayer.
be oneself instead of a separate self.
Yeah.
It's at that level that the correction happens. I'm willing to accept what is true in everything. Okay, so I'm willing to see that only this true awareness, only pure formless awareness,
And let go
is
of the
true
rest.
in everything I see. So there's no distortion now. All the beliefs, thoughts, emotions, the ego's interposed, get done away with. And I'm willing to allow the source, true awareness, to come through and shine through into my perception and see that awareness is everywhere. It's all encompassing, it's everywhere. There's nowhere that it's not. And then I let it be true for myself. Or just for me, maybe. What do you think? And I let it be true for me.
Yeah, that's also good. Truth overcomes all error, and those who live in error and emptiness can never find lasting comfort.
Okay, so if I live in error and emptiness, I will never find lasting comfort.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me not carry on that way. I've been doing that.
It also works. I can never find lasting comfort.
Yeah. I will never, or I can never.
I can never find lasting. Oh, they both good words. So.
I think I prefer will slightly.
Okay.
If I perceive truly, I am
cancelling out misperceptions in myself and in others simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because I see them as I am.
Do we want to change cancelling out to letting go?
No, it's good to cancel as well, actually. I was actually thinking about that. I did a release or letting go, was it yesterday or the day before? And sometimes it's good to use the word letting go, and sometimes it's good to use canceling my beliefs. Slightly different.
You want to keep cancelling them?
Yeah. Canceling out my misperceptions. Yeah, we do a lot of letting go. But canceling a belief is powerful as well. I find it very healing as well, like powerful healing. To cancel a belief.
Cancel the misperception, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, misperception. So because I see them as I am.
Yeah, because I perceive them.
I perceive them. Oh, wait. I'm cancelling out misperception in myself and in others simultaneously because I perceive them as they are. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just change this. I think it'll be useful. Put it in the translation. Because as you
Perceive them as they are.
perceive them as they are, you offer them your acceptance.
I offer them my acceptance.
And my acceptance of their truth.
So I can accept it for them. No, I can accept it.
Yeah, my acceptance of their, how about we say their true identity? How about that? So they can accept it for themselves. I'm seeing them as they truly are.
Yeah, that's
They
good.
can accept it for themselves because I'm
perceive
reminding them of who they are.
Because I perceive them as they are.
This
I
is the
offer
healing.
them my acceptance of their true identity so they can accept it for themselves. Yeah, that's very good. This is the healing that the correction brings. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Which is the healing my correction brings. Okay, I'm going to read that from the top.
The way to correct my distortions is to withdraw my faith in them and invest it only in what is true. I cannot make what is false true. I am willing to accept what is true in everything I perceive. I let it be true for me.
If I let you. If I am willing.
If I am willing to accept what is true in everything I perceive, I let it be true for me.
Let or allow? Allow it.
I allow it to be true for me. Yeah. I allow it to be true for me. Truth overcomes all error, and if I live in error and emptiness, I will never find lasting comfort. If I perceive truly, I am cancelling out misperceptions in myself and in others simultaneously. Because I perceive them as they are, I offer them my acceptance of their true identities so they can accept it for themselves, which is the healing that my correction brings.
How about we say in truth though? Because I perceive them as they are in truth, I offer them my acceptance of their true identity.
Yeah, that's good.
Accept it for themselves.
It works.
The healing that my correction brings. So this is how it works. If I see them as they are, then I allow them to perceive them as they are.
Yeah.
By giving them the space to do that. They won't necessarily do that, but I'm correcting my own mind, which is my only responsibility. Also offering them the opportunity to go into that same perception and perceive themselves as I perceive them.
Yeah.
Which is the miracle or the correction.
They are in truth because
and it extends from me. Because otherwise, how do people know? Most people are so in their false identity that it needs a miracle worker to remind them of who they are. Correction maker or miracle. So yeah, I see you as you really are. And then the person goes, wow, like no one's ever seen me like that.
Yeah, that's
and that can be life changing. That can absolutely change someone's life. Just someone
that is if they accept it.
Yeah, as they truly are, can be completely transformational. I'll give you an example. You know Tony Robbins, great motivational speaker. So he had a difficult childhood. He was at school, and one of his teachers called him in and said, Robbins, stay after class. He's like, what have I done wrong? So the guy says to him, he says, I see that you are a great communicator.
Yeah, I remember you said that story.
You could really, be a great speaker. I think you should enter this competition. There was a public speaking competition.
And he did.
Yeah, and because the guy saw him as he truly was, he saw his potential, and he said, I see this in you. He said, it was grace. I would never have known that. I didn't, believe enough in myself.
Yeah, sometimes it takes one person to believe in you to change your life.
He saw that my true, he saw that potential, my true nature, and he told me that. He took the time to tell me that, and encouraged me to follow it. And you know, the rest is history. He's become the greatest motivational speaker in the world because of that guy saying, I see you as you truly are, which is you know, so it can be quite extraordinary, the impact of one correct perception and then the act that follows it. You know, the what he said to him was an act of love and kindness.
Yes. Yeah.
And that, you know, that completely changed his life.
Yeah.
And changed the world, because, you know, millions of people have been affected by him doing that.
Yeah.
Positively. So that's the power of the miracle. Okay, so
It's interesting. I just remember I had his book actually, the Tony Robbins, a green book. What was it about? What was it? He was talking about
Awaken the
his.
Giant Within.
No.
No, another one.
Another one. What was it? What's it called? But he was talking
His
about.
teaching isn't on the same level as the course, but it's you know, it can be helpful for people to get out of their inertia, start upgrading themselves and believing that they have some power to change, taking responsibility. So it can be part of an awakening journey for sure. You know, it helped me, certainly. I got into Tony Robbins in my teens and 20s, and it was like, okay, it's helpful.
Unlimited Power, it's called.
Unlimited Power. Yeah, that was his first one. I think he
Yeah,
wrote
his
one
first
called-
one, because he was talking about kinesiology, and I could relate because I was studying that as well. So,
Yeah.
but I actually, it's funny, I never read the whole book. So weird. This how this happened. Maybe
Well,
I
it's-
was learning the same content in a way with my training, the mind training I was doing at the same time. You know, sometimes you just buy books and don't even read them,
Need to
maybe
read.
because you know you already know what's inside, maybe, or you're learning already what's in, like the same content. Maybe there's a higher.
Well, I
There's
think he
somehow
did
there's sometimes there's a
he
higher
actually-
guidance.
Yeah, he actually did a survey to see how many people actually read his books and other books.
Oh yeah.
And I think the number was something like 10%, maybe.
Oh wow.
10% of people actually read the whole book. You bought it.
Wow.
Only 10%. So, you know, and then most would, you know, like 50% would time out after chapter 1 or something, you know, till chapter 2.
Yeah, that was
just
maybe that was me.
Yeah,
I don't
just-
know, but
you
maybe I was
didn't get
busy
the rest of
actually
it.
practicing the content.
Yeah,
I think,
well, maybe the book's not necessary, you know.
yeah,
If you
sometimes
truly
yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
like if you understood the introduction of A Course in Miracles, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. If you
No,
really,
not until recently, when like this last few days, I think it really sinked in more than because
you really
I've
get that,
and
you
I've
don't
read
need
it.
the book.
I've read it several times, but I guess it wasn't integrating. You know, it wasn't sinking
Yeah.
in. It takes a few repetitions really to get to sink, let it sink
many,
in
you
and
can say that
integrate.
hundreds of times, you know,
Yeah, but
Course
integration is another.
yeah, exactly.
Another
Of course, it's
another-
necessary
Yeah.
to integrate that into your experience so that you know it experientially. You can live that way
Yeah.
rather than just being some nice words in a concept, which is what the mind training is about. We wouldn't need a course and all the mind training if you got that.
Actually, I think it's actually more today that it really hit something in my mind since today.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we have personalized executive summary. Would you like to do a meditation on this? I'll guide you through a 20-minute
Yes, that would be good. Yeah, thanks.
just to really entrench this. John,
Yeah.
you up for that?
Well, what I'd like to do, John, I've got to do something, so I'm going to pull out, but I will listen to it later when I go to bed.
Yeah, sure. I'll record it as a separate recording on the group, so you'll be able to do that.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Aurelie.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
everybody.
Good night.
You
Okay,
too.
bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's put you on mute. So making yourself comfortable. Sitting your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle, locking the energy in. And drawing the energy up the spine. Into your heart center, putting one hand on your heart, connecting with your heart space. So just check in, notice what's going on in your mind. Any thoughts, any emotions, any sensations related to those. Anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. Just blow it out. The breeze of your breath. Say today's idea. So my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world to help you let it go. Pull the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest. Your formless awareness of perfect love. And there's nothing else going on. So you open your mind to this awareness. Open your mind to this deeper awareness. And allow these words from Yeshua, our teacher, to just drop in. This is the Personalised Executive Summary of section we just read and translated and summarized, which is section 2, chapter 3, titled Miracles as True Perception. And just listen energetically, breathing in and out through your nose. Create spacious awareness in your mind. Allow these words to drop into this still, calm, spacious awareness like pebbles in a pond on a still, calm, windless day. Because your mind pond is so still, the ripple effects will be noticeable. It's rippling to the depths of your being. And then just feel into these words, so whatever. Allow the feelings to arise. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, and nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still. Allow these words to drop in and feel into them. So they're going deep into your mind. Really internalizing this. And say these words after me in your mind so that they become personal. It's personalized. It's applying these concepts to yourself. So Yeshua says the key concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree. And certain fundamental concepts cannot be understood in terms of opposites. It is impossible for me to conceive of pure formless awareness and limited awareness as joint possibilities. They are all true or all false. It's essential that I realize my thinking will be erratic until I make a firm commitment to one or the other. Fortunately, a firm commitment to limited awareness or nothingness is impossible because everyone has experienced some true awareness at some point, no matter how much they choose to deny it. So, even someone like Hitler, deeply unconscious, tried to deny light, true awareness completely, still would have had some experience of some true awareness in his life. Can never deny it completely. So it's not until my innocence becomes my one universal viewpoint through which I perceive everything that it becomes wisdom. When I'm in innocent or true perception, I never misperceive and always perceive truly. And so that's why it's true perception. I perceive truly. No distortions. More simply stated, in other words, I do not perceive what does not exist and always perceive what does. Also, just keep breathing, observing the breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. And feeling into these words, really feeling the power that they have. Absorbing the divine frequency of them. Let it take you into state they point to, which is pure, formless awareness, perfect love. Keep watching your breath. Observing it flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. Subtle flow of air into the nostrils and subtle flow out of the nostrils. When I lack confidence in what someone will do, I'm reinforcing my belief that he is not in his right mind, which is hardly a correction-minded frame of reference. It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of correction, which enables me to perceive everything as it is in truth. Nothing but the truth exists. My right-minded perception can only perceive perfection. I can only extend what pure formless awareness of perfect love extends through me. This is the only thing that is real. So feel that extension now. You are the extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So I'm afraid of pure formless awareness of perfect love because I've used my own mind, which it extends in the likeness of its own, to miscreate. That's why I'm afraid. It's my own miscreations make me afraid. Our mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free, which is to allow it to be possessed by the idea of separation. And is therefore limited, and pure formless awareness is not free to be the all-encompassing awareness of my mind. When I accept only this awareness, I'm united with my source and will experience the state of pure formless awareness. Nothing can prevail against me when I merge my awareness with my source's awareness. By doing this, my mind awakens from its sleep, all sense of separation disappears, and I remember my source. I'm really one with the Holy Trinity because there is no confusion within its levels, as we all come from one mind and one awareness. When I have this single purpose, I will feel fully integrated and perfectly peaceful. Yet I must know I am truly innocent to experience this. Therefore, I nurture true perception instead of defending myself against it. And without the wish to attack, and so perceive truly. So we see the Holy Trinity happens in one line. My source, pure formless awareness of perfect loving love extends to Christ mind, my true self, and that self can perceive correctly, reinterpret all the people, places, things, events, circumstances of this world correctly, in a way that does not violate the one self, the Christ, or pure formless awareness of perfect love that lies beyond the Christ. It's an operating system for my mind, allows me to nurture true perception instead of defending myself against it. So the way to correct my distortions is to withdraw my faith in them and invest it only in what is true. I cannot make what is false true. I'm willing to accept what is true in everything I perceive. I allow it to be true for me. Truth overcomes all error, and if I live in error and emptiness, I will never find lasting comfort. But if I perceive truly, I'm cancelling out misperceptions in myself and in others simultaneously. Because I perceive them as they are in truth, I offer them my acceptance of their true identity, so they can accept it for themselves, which is the healing that my correction brings. So as I perceive others in their truth, I can bring the healing of that true identity, the Christ self, the one self that perceives correctly, that is their true self that can guide them through this world in the optimal way, the most effective, happy dream they can have. So the gift you can give someone is to see them in that self, remind them of who they are. Allow them to accept that identity once again. So just surrendering into the awareness. It says, when I merge my awareness and my source's awareness, nothing can prevail against me. I awaken from my sleep, all sense of separation disappears, and I remember my source. So let's do that now. Just be willing to merge your awareness into and with your source. Just going into that awareness deeply and fully. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still in this awareness. Surrender into this awareness, nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, just be in it, allow it, don't resist it. Surrender into it completely for the next 2 minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts arise that seemingly block this awareness, just observe them and remind yourself that my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Your thoughts that give this world reality. So you can let them go. Just breathe into them, breathe this awareness in, and exhale, blow them out. The breeze of your breath into the nothingness they really are. Going, gone. Pull the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in deeper awareness. Another minute or so of deep silence. So just coming back, some awareness of the body and the breath, senses and the world. And on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So one, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind again. Notice any thoughts, emotions, sensations going on. Remind yourself that my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world, and blow them away with the breeze of your breath. Notice on the exhale how the air flows out, the chest and the stomach suck back in. Come to rest. Bottom of the exhale. In true awareness, pure forms of awareness, perfect love. On the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling and touching. There's a subtle taste in your mouth. Smell in your nose. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very, very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. Not judgment, and nothing can really disturb you. Data that's coming in through your senses is only disturbing if you interpret it to be so. So you're practicing here, cleaning your mind, all disturbing reactions, negative thoughts and reactions to your perceptions. And so now on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around. As we'll practice today's workbook lesson one more time. So as you look around, just casually observing what's going on. Just say to yourself as you look at everything, say, that my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Very casually, just as your eye, let your eyes rest on something for just a few seconds and then move on. Let it roam around the room, up, down, left, right. Say to yourself, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Slowly and deliberately, unhurried, casually, leisurely, ideas to connect you with the peace, relaxation, freedom from worry that these lessons are trying to achieve. And so then close your eyes just to conclude the lesson one more time and say, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Let that really sink in deeply into your mind. Notice the state of mind you're in, anchor the state so you can stay here for the rest of the evening, take it with you to bed, and carry it with you into tomorrow until our next session, which will be the normal time, 12:30 UK. It's 1:30 French time, 2:30 SA time. So open your eyes again and continue on. Hopefully in this very calm, peaceful state, which will prepare you for bed really well. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of tonight's session. So thanks Aurelie. Thanks everyone who joined.
Thank
Good
you.
session.
Yeah, namaste. Thank you.
Namaste. Okay, see you.
Good night.
See you
Yeah.
tomorrow. Good
Yeah,
night.
thank you. Bye. Good night.
Good night.